Following in your own feculence, it is the Freedom Fiends Live.
Yo, Neema Vedadi. Neema Vedadi.
What's up, Michael Dean? Vedadi.
Did you get
Michael
pregnant?
Fadine.
Are you pregnant yet?
Yes, I've got a very big baby in my belly.
I told my wife about that, and she's like, about you guys trying, and she's like, babies just happen. You don't have to try.
It can't hurt to try, right?
I don't know, man. I think they just happen. I think that hundreds of thousands of years of hominoids on this earth proves that.
Well, either way, that's guaranteed success then, isn't it?
So would you like read an Oprah book on how to get pregnant or something?
No, F Oprah, man. No, I'm not sorry, hating on Oprah. She could probably drone us if she wanted to.
I know.
she just call up the other O, her counterpart in the White House.
So I'm going to play this ad here. It's for Free State, Wyoming Jamboree, the hootenanny they're having here. DJ and I just finished making this ad moments ago, and didn't have time to get Ian to put it in the rotor here. So we're just going to play it over the speakers. I hope this works. Let's see.
Okay, go for it.
Have you been looking for a safe, scenic, and inspiring place to live free? We chose Wyoming. Wyoming is the home of Free State, Wyoming, and the personal choice of Boston Tea Party, as well as the setting of his book, Moulin l'Abbé. Bring the family and stop by for the 2012 Free State, Wyoming Jamboree for 4 days of camping, shooting, and barbecue. There'll be trading, hiking, a raffle, and plenty of activities for the kids. Admission is free for those under 18. Entrance and 4 days camping is $15. It's only $15 more for the barbecue and beer on Saturday. Visit freestatewyoming.org. That's freestatewyoming.org. There's even a one-day handgun course led by Boston. The handgun course is extra. The Jamboree is June 28th through July 1st in the beautiful Black Hills of Wyoming. Join us to explore our favorite area of the country and see if our choice might become your choice. That's freestatewyoming.org. See you there.
So there it is, y'all.
Yay! So everybody go to Wyoming.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. I went last year, and it does not conflict time-wise with the New Hampshire hootenanny, so you could go to both if you want.
Yeah, 2 free states in one summer. Score.
I know.
I never went to the Wyoming, that one, the Free State Wyoming one, but they do a Liberty Fest over in Lander, and I went to that both of the years I was in Wyoming and had a lot of fun.
I went to this one last year. It was a lot of fun. We're not going to be able to go this year because DJ has a case that week, or a trial that week, so we are stuck in town.
I guess you guys have to skip out on the Free State Wyoming for a government trial
for tyranny. Yeah, well, to protect somebody in a government trial. She does not work for a prosecutor. She works for a defense guy. It was fun making that ad. We had to actually do a lot of typing and moving stuff around just because there was so much to get in there working in the constraints of radio of 30-second, 60 or 60-second ads. It's like we had to move stuff around and re-record it. Otherwise it was coming out sounding like, because things were next to each other, it was coming out sounding like, and kids drink and shoot free. Which sounds
you
like
left that in. You'd get a lot more people, Michael.
sounds like my kind of libertarian
I'll
paradise.
take the whole family, man.
Sounds like my kind of libertarian paradise, but no, it's a you don't do that there. The kids don't drink and they don't shoot, but it is a family fun extravaganza in the Black Hills of Wyoming, and it's really cool. I've been to it, and I recommend that people go to it.
Score. Yep. So, note to the wise. We actually have a caller here, don't we?
Oh yeah, let's bring Ian up here. Ian, you're on Freedom Fiends Live. I almost said Free Talk Live. You there? Hello.
What's going on?
Hey, Ian, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Cool, man. What do you got for us today?
Well, I work for a company. Hold on.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out there.
Yeah, I didn't want to get on. I was on speakerphone, so.
All right.
So I work for a fairly good company that ain't paying the bills that well, and I got college loans going on. So my question is, should I take a military industrial complex job that I could pretty much get and sacrifice my morals doing so, or stay in debt a little bit longer?
Before we answer that, I don't know if this is even relevant, but what would you be doing at the company?
It's a contracts administrator job, so I've been doing like the business end of it, like working. On the job description it says working with securing government procurement of materials. So it's very cryptic.
Well, you probably also already can't get this job because they're listening and they're going to figure out who you are. But
well, that solves that problem.
I mean, an interesting thing I would think, whether or not, like, if for people who think it's immoral to have a job working in the military industrial complex, I think people would have different opinions who believe that way, even would have different opinions on whether or not it matters whether you're actually building the bombs and dropping them or just pushing the pencils on the spreadsheets for the people who do it. How do you feel about the difference? Would you? Yeah, Neema?
I would definitely say it's the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Would you do it?
It'd be like, I kind of feel that way about, let's compare it to, the Holocaust. I mean, the people that maybe process paperwork for it, I mean, are they just as guilty as people walking them in? I mean,
I'd say yeah.
It's the same project, so that's why I see it as, even though I'm not sitting there actually, putting the bolts on the bombs or, not actually doing anything like that, I still feel as though it's directly responsible. So.
Right, because the fruits of your labor, the end result of it is the bomb, or in the case of the Holocaust, it is the murder of the Jews. So either way, whether you're actually, building the bomb or making it easier for somebody else to build the bomb, it's the same principle in my mind.
One thing I'll say is whatever conclusion we come to, and I think we've already come to it because I pretty much agree with Neema. Personally, I wouldn't take that job. The thing is, though, I can't tell you what to do. You have to make the decision,
Absolutely. No, I totally hear that. And it's just it's hard. I heard a kind of cool saying, men do funny things when they get hungry, and it's I get, when you always talked about, you not directly holding the gun, it's now I feel like the gun is being pushed towards me to pick it up, and I'm just I don't want to do it. But
I think a related thing we could talk about, too, is how in the coming times, in the government takeover of everything, that's going to become more and more common. I mean, I think it'll even get to the point where it's going to be where if the economy completely collapsed, which is a possibility, I'm not shouting it from the rooftops that it's going to happen like some people, but with the possibility of it, I think it's going to get to the point literally where the government could come around to people's neighborhoods and say, either come to this FEMA camp and get some bowls of soup and some medical attention for those sores on your face from, whatever else we did to you, or sit here and starve in your house. And, a lot of people are going to go, well, I've got kids. I got to think of them. I'm not going to stay here and fight the fight on my own property. I'm going to go to the camps, or even maybe not to the camps. Maybe it's something more subtle some disaster or just some economic disaster where they come in and say, you're starving. We can feed you and you can do things our way, or you can starve. Your family can starve. DJ has had, I know people that have had short-term things like that where there's an earthquake or there's a flood, and it's either they come in and say you have to leave your home, or they come in and say, you probably should leave your home. And it's, do you stay and deal with the hurricane, or do you go down, and I won't even say FEMA camps, do you go down to the local high school gymnasium, where it's safer or it's on high ground or whatever? There's a lot of choices like that in life. I don't know that they're always so cut and dry either, What do you think, Neema?
And I feel like that's the situation Ian's in, is it's not as cut and dry as that, and it's not as dire as that for Ian here.
I mean, you could go work at McDonald's or something, or a record store or a coffee shop and make less money, but you could get a job.
Well, you already have a job, don't you, Ian? You already make money.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I guess one of the big philosophies I try to, base my economics off of is not being in debt. One of the things I really buy into is the Hayekian savings, and if I got a job like this, it would allow me to save up that cash to be able to not go into debt, to not use credit cards. And, I'm not looking to make a career off this. And I think that's maybe an important aspect to, consider too. Once I get out of debt, then I can start saying, okay, now how can I get out of here,
Are you?
See, I feel like it's almost like the Ring of Power in Lord of Rings, though, because I feel like cops do this too, to where they take a job for a little bit, and then it's only so long until their retirement, and they're like, well, I'll hold on another 5 years, and then it becomes another 10 years. So it's like a rabbit hole that you want to make sure you don't fall down. And do you want to stay with us after this break too?
Can you stay with us? Can you stay with us for after the break?
Sure.
Okay. Freedom Feens Live, y'all.
Hi, I'm Neema Vedadi from the FEENS Podcast, and I'm excited about Vapor
Are you excited,
electronic
Neema?
Cigarettes.
I'm always excited.
Freedom Fiends Live. We are back on the air. We got a caller here, Ian, who is debating taking an entry-level position as a bean counter at Drones R Us. And having a moral quandary about it. I told him in the break that I don't know much about economics. Everything I know about economics, I could probably type on one single spaced typing page. But I think I know more about economics than most people with PhDs in economics, because most people with PhDs in economics know the wrong kind of economics that's false and all lies. So
they buy into the indoctrination.
Yeah.
Whereas Michael can call BS on something when he sees it.
Yeah. I mean, for those who don't know, there's basically, we think there's two types of economics. There's Keynesian and there's Austrian. And Keynesian is what most people in most government agencies practice, and it's wrong. It's based on lies. And Austrian economics is actual free market without the government intervention. They let things fail when they should fail, and that's true economics.
And so, back to the question of Ian, I guess your sort of motivation here, or the reason why you might take this government job, even though it goes against your morals, is you want to get out of debt, because that's important to you, is getting rid of that college debt, your college loans. How long do you think it would take you in those few years? I mean, is it a few years? Is it 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5? How long do you think you'd have to spend in that government job in order to get rid of your debt?
I would say at least maybe a minimum of 2 years, which is not a lot.
I mean, it's too late for you for this, but advice I would have for other people listening to this who are contemplating going to college is don't. You went to college, Neema. What did you learn, and how did it affect you economically, and are you ever going to make your money back doing what you're supposed to do from it?
Well, I mean, not being a mainstream TV news reporter, which is technically what I went to college for, I feel like I can use the skills I learned, but I feel like I could have probably acquired those skills in a much more cost-efficient way and not racked up so much debt.
Yeah, I think college is unnecessary at this point. I think the only reason anyone should go to college is if they're getting into something that you absolutely can't do without that piece of paper, like being a doctor. And even then, I mean, I think you could learn a lot of that on the internet. Does Khan Academy have a medical program, Neema?
I don't think they have a medical program. No. So Ian, what did you go to school for?
I went to school for finance. It's actually interesting. I started off for music, sound recording technology, and they kind of restricted me from getting into that because I didn't have an audition instrument to play with. Then I switched to music business, and then I needed to play an instrument there. So I'm like, all right, I'll pick the next logical thing, business, finance. And,
so wait, you can't you can't go to recording school if you can't play an instrument?
Oh, at the school I go to, at UMass Lowell, basically, they consider music business, or anything with music in it, a music field. And because of that, you need to play in an ensemble. And when you play in an ensemble, that's like a huge chunk of your time just devoted to like playing in the music, whether you like it or not, it's part of your degree. So, and I didn't really feel like doing that. I mean, I like playing music for the fun of it. I felt like if it became a job, or, I needed to audition, it was just a waste of time. And I said, no. So I just basically went for business, and that freed up a lot of time. Still love music, still love listening to you guys, talk about like, microphones and all that stuff, but at the same time, it's not what I want to devote all my time to.
Right. But finance, I feel like there's lots of jobs you could get using a finance degree that would sync with your morals, that would be, not using aggression, that would follow the non-aggression principle and still be very lucrative. I feel like
yeah, I mean, every
before you
startup
take the leap here, because I feel like it's almost a low-hanging fruit thing for you. Like, your uncle knows this person, you can get the job right there, it's guaranteed, and that's very tempting. And in the end, the decision's up to you, like we said. But I would feel like even if you do decide to do the government job, I think you'll feel better about your decision if you spend a little bit more time looking into the other options before you make the final call.
I literally think ethically, you would be more of an ethical person to go on welfare than to go work directly for the military-industrial complex.
Interesting.
Personally,
you want to justify that, Michael?
Yeah, because both of them are taking stolen money But the person on welfare isn't hurting anybody. They're just sitting on their couch drinking beer. The person who is taking the stolen money, working in the military-industrial complex, is contributing to killing people by remote control who haven't done anything to anybody.
Right. So the person working the job is actually one of the thieves, whereas the person on the welfare, they're just a lucky bystander who happens to get some of the crumbs from the thieves.
And the person working for the military-industrial complex is also stealing more because they're getting a lot more money.
Very good point. Very good point. So, Ian, I hope that helped. Did that guide you in any specific way? Or?
Cool.
No, that was definitely cool. Who knows? Maybe I'll come back next Sunday with my decision.
There you go. I was going to say, please do that. All right, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks,
Take
guys.
care.
Have a good one.
Bye. So, Neema.
Yeah.
Did you check out at all this stuff that's going on in Wyoming with the mucky mucks in the Republican Party doing things are unethical?
Yeah, and you sort of got an exclusive interview on that, didn't you, on the Anarchy Gumbo podcast?
Yeah, I don't want to put a lot of time to it, but people should go to Anarchy Gumbo podcast or the previous Freedom Fiends episode. It's reposted there. It's an episode called what's it called? Unjust Practices or something. I forget. Names. Questionable Practices by the Wyoming GOP to knock Ron Paul out of the running.
Yeah. And the first time I'd actually heard of that story, it was a link from Lou Rockwell's Political Theater that went to Press TV, which is actually Iranian state TV, posted a story about the Wyoming GOP. And they had a little YouTube video there. And I guess what I gleaned from it is there were people voting twice. There were people coming up saying, basically, you're not a true American if you don't cast your vote for Romney.
Josh Romney. Yeah, Romney's son, Josh Romney, who owns a big ranch outside of Jackson, Wyoming, because his daddy bought it for him. So I guess he's a Wyomingite part of the year, at least on paper.
He's a wannabe ranchislator.
Yeah, he and Dick Cheney showed up and spoke at this event at the caucus, and where they vote for who's going to be the delegate and who's going to represent and go to basically it's where they pick who Wyoming's running for president. And basically what it comes down to is this guy Tyler Lindholm is a Republican national alternate delegate for the GOP. So he's not just some guy standing outside sneaking in. He's in the Republican Party. He's a lifelong Republican and a member of the Republican Party and a delegate, who's been chosen by the people to help represent the Republican Party in Wyoming. And
now, is he bound to Romney because of this, or can he still vote for Ron Paul?
No, he's voting for Ron Paul. Basically, what happened is a lot of people were voting for Ron Paul, possibly a majority. We'll never know because of all this stuff that happened behind the scenes. But basically, a bunch of billionaires came in and just hijacked the thing and did some things that, according to Tyler, violate the GOP bylaws, if not federal law. They may have broken laws. We're not really sure. Or he.
Of course, who's going to enforce that? Who's going to get in trouble? Yeah. The establishment doesn't care. Yeah. I mean, they're probably the ones who set this whole thing into place in the first place.
Yeah.
So square, man. But we'll come back with some more freedom on the other end of the break.
Worms.
SurvivalGearbags.com is run. It is Freedom Fiends Live. Coming back. So, we've got a call-in number here. If you want to call us, it's 307-215-5171. And we'll start off with talking about Ted Nugent again. We talked about him in the last podcast, I think. He got in a bit of trouble, and apparently now the Secret Service has decided to search for the prostitutes at Ted Nugent's house rather than Columbia. So they paid him a little visit. Is that right, Michael?
Yeah, and it went really well. And, I was joking about that. I said, if we said this about the president, they'd drone us. If Ted Nugent said it, they'd send the Secret Service over and probably ask for autographs. And I don't know if they asked for autographs, but he said it went really well, and he kissed their butt and was really statist and said, let's see.
He said it couldn't have gone better. And I'm kind of thinking, if the Secret Service visits your house, I can think of a lot of things that can go a lot better than that.
Well, they visited him backstage in Oklahoma City. You know, that wouldn't happen with you or me. You or me wouldn't say, well, I'm working that night. Come to this bar and talk to me backstage after a band plays. They'd be like, no, they just drag you out and take you to one of their places, to the Dick Cheney building in Casper.
Yeah. They'd put a rag in front of my face and say, does that smell like chloroform?
Nugent says that he reveres law enforcement, and in fact, it's a profession that has been a part of his life for 3 decades. Ted Nugent is a deputy sheriff in Michigan and has taken part in federal raids in Texas with ATF and a couple other agencies. Yeah, he's so status, man.
Was he like the little drummer boy or playing a bass, you know, as the dudes march to kill people in Waco, or what's his deal?
I don't know, man, but they're not letting him off easy. They this week he got charged by the feds with illegally transporting a black bear he illegally killed in Alaska. And they canceled his performance at Fort Knox. He was going to play there. I guess, you know, serenading all the empty gold vaults or something.
Yeah, I did see that. The military, and this was really weird to me because in the story, a spokesman for Fort Knox said that having Nugent perform would be a conflict of interest since the military has the obligation to be apolitical. And that just seemed to me like the biggest load of BS. Like, in what bizarre world that is not our bizarre world is the military apolitical? I feel like the military controls the political process more than any other special interest group in America today.
Yeah. And Ted Nugent, the reason he was supposed to perform at Fort Knox, and this is one of those like weepy patriotic makes everybody go, oh, it was a request in the last will and testament of a Navy SEAL who was killed in action, which is kind of specious of someone to, you know, you think I could put in my will, yeah, I want Ted Nugent to play at my funeral, and I don't think it would happen.
Also, why would you pick Ted Nugent? I mean, he's
I want
great,
Henry
but not
Rollins.
that great.
I want Henry Rollins and Ted Nugent to come to my funeral and debate. I want the lefts
and mud wrestle.
DJ's laughing. Yeah, Ted Nugent's a right-wing statist, and Henry Rollins is a left-wing statist, and they're both really eloquent. And you'd think they'd be too smart to be statists, but statism does not preclude intelligence. Someone actually told me they went to a Mensa meeting, which is, you know, you have to be a genius to get in this club. And they said It was like everyone was just sitting around talking about like how to point the government guns to do the things that geniuses thought the government should do.
Well, and it makes sense to me because I feel like being an anarchist or libertarian or voluntarist, it's not necessarily doesn't always come from the sense of it's practically what will work better, although I do believe that. I feel like it's more of a moral decision. So I think you can be very smart, and regardless of the practicality, you really want to be the one controlling things. And that's more of a moral decision. If you feel you want to control people, that can be somebody who's dumb who wants to control people or somebody who's smart who wants to control people. I don't see how intelligence really makes a defining decision in that kind of sense.
I feel like the government has long thought that the Second Amendment is a loophole to be closed. I feel like they now think the First Amendment is a loophole to be closed. What do you think?
I feel like they always have on both counts. If you really think of who the state is, or what the state is and who the government is, I feel like, because look, it wasn't even in the original Constitution. Those were the Bill of Rights. Those were sort of the, okay, fine. That was them giving in to people who were like, wait, we don't want a giant centralized government.
Well, the Bill of Rights was
fine,
basically,
you can have this Bill of Rights.
The Bill of Rights was basically a concession for states that did not want to join a federal union, who said, okay, you need to put some stuff down on paper for us that shows you won't overstep your boundaries or we're not joining this union.
Right. So from the very beginning, the Bill of Rights was nothing but the government saying, hey, baby, it'll be okay. We won't beat you that bad anymore. And then, of course, they didn't follow it. They didn't really believe in it.
There was actually an alternate Second Amendment that was a lot more like Hassel Doctrine,
right?
You know, that was submitted. I forget what state it was. It might have been Pennsylvania, but that was turned down. There was also an amendment about taxation limitations that was turned down.
Ah, really? I didn't know that. See, I knew the thing about the Second Amendment because I think Boston Tea Party had written about that, and how mealy-mouthed the Second Amendment we ended up with was.
Yeah, he
wrote. Really, it was on purpose for some people. He wanted it to be vague.
And he said in that passage of Boston's Gun Bible, he said, "I could write one. In 10 minutes, I could sit down and write one that would be ironclad. Here, I'll do it." And then he presented this thing that was a little longer than the Second Amendment, but not even twice as long, that basically is hassle doctrine.
Right. And I mean, I don't even think you need to spend much time on it. I mean, the essence of it, to me, or what it should be, is any individual has the natural right to defend themselves with whatever tool or piece of equipment they feel necessary for that self-defense.
Yeah.
Cut and dry. I mean, not the government doesn't have the right to infringe, because then the government can dance around that and be like, well, what is really infringe? Just that the people positively have a natural right to do this no matter what.
Which brings me to, bill gives IRS the power to authorize the removal of the right to own a firearm if you owe too much taxes.
Oh, I saw that. It was disgusting. It's more than that. It's they don't have to do any really due process. The IRS can just say you're delinquent. Not only would they take away your right to own a gun, but they'd also prevent you from leaving the country, and a lot of other horrible, horrible things that just sickens me that it's gotten to that point to where not only do they demand the money from you, and really, there are some people that still labor under the fantasy that taxation is in some way voluntary. And I think that this is a good example of the fact that it is not. If you don't pay your taxes, they'll take your guns away and they'll keep you from moving.
Worms.
Disgusting. Although it's just a bill yet. It hasn't passed, right?
Right.
Okay, so, I mean, I'm not much for political action, but I guess I can keep my fingers crossed that somebody will hopefully not vote for that.
The most political action I'll do is interviewing a guy who says that the Wyoming GOP is committing some kind of wrong activity. And then I sit around worrying, like, okay, are Dick Cheney and Matt Mead, the governor, going to, like, ride in on horses and drone me? Ride in and chop off my head, Christian Zionism style?
Yeah, it's a good thing they didn't know what Matt Mead didn't know what Freedom Fiends was when we went out shooting with him.
I know.
He could have had an accident.
And shot us and said, oops. Well, that guy had the worst trigger control. He was shooting while one of his buddies was out on the field.
No, wasn't that the other one? I think that was Colin Simpson.
I sit corrected.
Yeah, we had that on camera. I believe that was
Which
Colin
I still
Simpson.
maintain that those two, I mean, they have such a history together working for the federal government going back to however far. I think that they sat around and had a beer and flipped a coin. You do it, and then appoint me something. No, you do it, and then appoint me something. And they just flipped a coin for it or something.
Yeah. It's all just an incestuous cluster frack.
It's amazing to me, too, like these people who claim to be conservatives, and they're ganging up to, like, get Romney in, who's not even a conservative, to get rid of Ron Paul, who is a true conservative, you know?
Well, maybe the Bad Quaker and Justin Raimondo and others who have said this are right when they say or argue that the GOP is really trying to throw the election. They don't want a Republican to have to deal with all the kind of stuff Obama's dealing with now. They want Obama to do all the evil status things and still get blamed for all the stuff he's getting blamed for.
And this song is Would You Tar and Feather a Tax Collector by Right Arm of Wyoming.
Yeah, and they want Obama to be that one that gets tarred and feathered. And then they come in and scoop to the rescue and do other horrible things.
Worms.
Would you like to advertise?
Back once again, I am Neema Vedadi, and on the other end of the microphone, and pretty much on the other end of the country, is Michael W. Dean. How you doing, Michael? Yeah. So, you got a follow-up for us from some statist robot giving you a call. Luckily, it wasn't a drone knocking at your door saying he had a pizza for you.
Pizza drone.
Pizza drone.
Land shark.
Meter man.
Well, I got a couple follow-ups for stuff I thought of later after listening to the last couple Wednesday casts. One is, we're talking about the robocall, you know, of the DHS telling the sheriff that they should call everybody in the county and get their email address and their Facebook password or whatever.
Yes, the lame square statist sheriff in, what is that county?
Natrona.
Yep.
Yep. You know what I thought of? I forgot about this. I am on the National Do Not Call list, which is set up by the federal government, and it works except with the government. They don't have to abide by it, man.
Well, what did you expect, Michael? Did you honestly expect anything different?
A do not tyrannize list. Oh, I want to be on the do not tyrannize list.
Hell yeah. That's something we should invent.
Well, we talked about it. I was saying I'd gladly pay my taxes if I could be left alone. And you were like, no, it's immoral to pay taxes at all or ask for them. And you're like, I'm like, you're right. But here's my follow up for that. When the mafia demands protection money from people, if the people pay the money, the mafia leaves them alone. With the government, they demand the protection money and then they use it to fuck with you.
That's a very good point. So in essence, it'd be better to live in a society where the mafia asks for protection money than one in which the government does.
Yeah, I would prefer the mafia to the government is what I'm saying. I don't know about that, but I'm saying the government is worse than the mafia. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll buy that. The government is way worse than the mafia, both in scale and annoyingness and evilness and amount of people they've killed, which is way more than the mafia.
Yep. And I have a follow-up on that thing I said about unions in Hollywood, about my friend that was on a Hollywood shoot, and those lights got destroyed because the people from the lighting union weren't there, and they would not let the food people.
Well, the craft services people covered up the lights to protect them, and then didn't the union people come back and uncover them?
Yeah.
So they could get rained on and destroyed.
And I was thinking, like, how much Hollywood is like the government in that way, because in an independent shoot, you'd get fired for not covering up lights that were getting rained on if you were the craft services.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I'd fire you.
You'd never work for free in the town again.
You'd never work for free in this town again. I told you. I actually told a guy that once and then like talked about it in my book, $30 Film School. And some people were like, you're horrible. That's horrible. But it's like the guy actually cost me money because he offered to do some cheap printing for me when I was going to Sundance and I wanted to hand out. I was not in Sundance, but I wanted to go there. I went there and showed my film DIY or Die down the street at a coffee shop at one of those, hanging on the coattails little mini film festivals.
Right.
And I wanted to print like 2,000 handbills to hand out. And this guy said he'd do it for me for free or for like $10 or something. He worked at a print shop. And excuse me.
Completely flaked on you, right?
Yeah, he completely flaked on me. And I ended up, he said he was going to he kept saying he'd do it. He kept saying he'd do it for weeks. And then he said he was going to bring him to my house as I was leaving for the airport. And he never did that. He never showed up. So I had to go to in Park City. I had to go to the Kinko's there and pay him 3 times as much as it would have cost to get him done full price in LA to get a rush job on him to be able to hand him out there. And I told that guy, I said, you'll never work in this town for free again. And he was just like, meh. But I think it was accurate of me to say that to him.
Yeah, I think so too. So yeah, that guy's everywhere, man.
So annoying people on the internet is, a bill that makes it illegal in Arizona to annoy people on the internet has passed in the state house and Senate and is about to be signed by Jan Brewer, who will sign it because she's a fascist. Oh, wait, I wonder
fascist.
Now if I'm annoying her, did I just break the law in Arizona? Because I have family there, man. Maybe I'll never be able to visit them again,
And this is on the internet. So, yeah, if she's annoyed by you, you're breaking the law in Arizona, although it hasn't been signed yet. So it probably won't go into effect until a few months later.
I'm annoyed by her.
I'm annoyed by all of Arizona lately. They've been doing some...
Well, let me ask you this. If that bill passes, when some state politician in Arizona does something really annoying and it's published on the internet, what would happen if you called Sheriff Arpaio's office and said, I want to file a report. They annoyed me on the internet from Arizona.
That's a good question. Somebody should try that. I don't know.
I think trying to get Sheriff Arpaio to go after tyranny in Arizona would be like asking the government to not call you because you're on the government do not call list.
Yeah. Of course, they use it when it's convenient for them, and they ignore it when it's not, is the way those things usually work out. But I feel like Arizona's been in the news lately for a lot of tyrannical things. I don't know if it passed or if it's just a bill yet, but they've basically decided, or the government there wants to decide. Oh, it looks like they did pass it. So basically they're saying pregnancy for a woman now begins 2 weeks before she's pregnant. 2 weeks before conception.
What?
So basically all women are walking around Arizona eternally pregnant now.
Now, is this one of those like joke bills that someone puts as a reaction to another bill, or is it a real bill?
That's what I thought at first. At first I thought it was, somebody being silly saying, hey, you guys are this ridiculous.
Because there was somebody who was pro-choice, some state senator somewhere in Oklahoma, I think it was, who tried to put up a bill that would ban a man spilling his seed and make it a crime. Trying to make it make it a point of the men are doing the same thing by trying to control women's right to abortion. But this is this one
either
of those
way,
or not?
if this was a joke bill, then it backfired because it actually did pass. So it has passed. It looks like it was sponsored by State Representative Kimberly Yee, a Republican from Phoenix. So I'm guessing if it was a Republican from Phoenix, then it probably wasn't a joke bill, but a serious bill. And
well, technically, isn't the guy who runs Freedom Phoenix a Republican from Phoenix? I doubt he's of the same mind as these people, though.
Do you think he's a Republican? I kind of feel like he is leaning anarchist.
Well, he's an anarchist, but he used to be politically involved and used to work on the Ron Paul campaign. So he probably, I'm still a Republican, technically, although I've spent most of this week complaining about how horrible Republicans are. Right. Well, she's Kimberly a Republican state representative. So if you're a state representative and you're a Republican and you're not Ron Paul, then I don't know if I really. She looks like a porn star. I'm looking at her right now. Oh, are you? Yeah. Does she look like a porn star? There's a thing that says PayPal. We need your contribution on her website. Is she gonna dance for me? Am I gonna get a lap dance? I bet I'm annoying someone in Phoenix, in Arizona, on the internet right now. I bet we annoy people in Arizona whenever we're on. I just feel like I guess I don't get Arizona's angle, because sometimes they'll do something that's pretty freedom-minded, like, not requiring a permit to carry a gun. I mean, I think they just did that so white people can shoot brown people. Yeah, maybe. I mean, there are always those instances of doing the right thing for the wrong reason, or believing in the right thing for the wrong reason. So there could be some of that going on there. Do you know Larkin Rose endorsed Mitt Romney because he wants the world to fail quicker so we can rebuild it? Okay, yeah, I think somebody was telling us that a caller from the last Sunday show. So he actually endorsed Romney. Ugh. So it's almost like the Christians that believe Israel should get in a giant war so that the Armageddon can come and the second coming of Jesus will arrive. Which somebody wrote to, in the last episode, I was saying, how can Christians back Israel? Rednecks used to hate Jews. And someone sent me this link of this thing called Christian, what's that word? Zionism. Christian Zionism. Which is supposed to be a conspiracy theory. And then I'm thinking, how conspiratorial, and, conspiracy theory usually means a small number or percentage of people believe it. And I'm like, is it still a conspiracy theory when that seems to be what's driving our military and both sides of the presidential candidates except Ron Paul in everything they say and do? Yeah, I guess it can, because if you think about it, most of the things the government uses to convince us of stuff, foreign policy especially, is in essence a conspiracy theory. In the lead up to the Iraq War, they were saying Saddam Hussein and bin Laden were in a conspiracy against America, when in fact they hated each other and there were no discernible ties. There was a conspiracy theory that Iraq had nuclear weapons. They didn't, but Colin Powell went in front of the Congress with news cameras everywhere and showed us a bunch of blurry pictures that could have been programmed by some 12-year-old in Flash or something, and said these are nuclear weapon sites, and people bought it, and that was it wasn't Flash. It was PowerPoint. They sold that war with a PowerPoint presentation. Same difference. They made a bunch of BS up and sold it to us, and people bought it because apparently they're stupid. But yeah, I mean, I guess the thing about Christian Zionism, well, I don't want to open up that hornet's nest and not have a whole couple minutes here to explain it. So We'll get back to that after the long break here. But also, you can also call us. This is Freedom Feens Live. So if you've got something to weigh in and want to stop my yammering, just dial 307-215-5171. Kimberly Yee looks filthy. Kimberly Yee. Is she Asian, or what's her deal? Yes.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims. How about trying stateless sweets,
Baklava.
government-free fudge and caramel? Stateless
this
sweets
break?
are made with real ingredients.
long is this break?
Let's see. This break is 4 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to take the break. I'm going to take lunch at my desk.
All right.
I wish we could do this every day and make 70,000 a year, man. I love it.
Yeah,
I could do this in
that'd
my
be
sleep.
awesome.
We gotta call it.
Hell yeah. We got a call. Call.
Yo, who are you, caller? You're not on the air yet, but who are you?
Hey, Michael, this is Lou from Michigan. How's it going, buddy?
Lou, you going to talk about Christian Sharia with us?
Sure.
Are you Christian?
I'm an undecided agnostic.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Cool.
How's it going, Lou?
Oh, not too bad. I was going to fill you in on the ban on Porky Pig.
On the what?
Oh, yeah. It's a follow-up. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Couple farms
Good
got
deal.
taken down.
We're not on the air yet, so let's hang on to it.
Yeah.
Hey, so Neema, I was going to say, even though we're filled for ads right now,
Uh-huh.
and some of them are paid ads and some of them are free ads that we're doing for favors for people. I made the mistake with the free ads of telling the people we'll put these up for 3 months. What I think we should do is go ahead and try to sell more ads. And if we get someone that we have to displace one of the other ones with, basically pay the people that we're giving the free ad for. You know, if like Kofi's not making any money having that ad up there. If we said to Kofi, hey, we'll give you $50 if we can go back on our word for that, I think he'd say, yeah.
Maybe, but we'll talk more after the show. It's kind of hard to understand exactly what you mean with the ads in the background right now.
Oh, I muted mine. That's why I asked if it was 4 minutes or not.
Oh, okay. Here. Even still, yeah. I think I get what you're saying, and I think that sounds good. But let's talk about it either way after the live show.
Oh, I like the idea of including random callers in our financial discussions. Stuff most people would keep free.
Second
secret.
time we did today.
I know.
Well, if Kofi agrees to it, then it sounds as if it's a voluntary, mutually beneficial transaction, and nobody should be bothered by it.
What Lou said.
There you go. Yeah, what Lou said.
Yeah, and there's 3 people that have free ads, so I think one of them would so if we sold, the minimum is two months of be $150 for 30-second ads. So if we had to pay someone $40 to bump their free ads that we gave, I think it would be ethical, and I think they'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom just texted me and said, "Don't forget it's Jewish Mother's Day."
Is it?
I guess.
Is that a joke?
Well, she says that she's done some genealogy work, and apparently our Italian side of the family were the Jews from Sicily. So I'm part Jewish too, apparently.
Huh. My daughter was part Jewish. Her mother's part Jewish.
So hey, that's good. I'm a Jewish Iranian, Jewish Italian Iranian.
Do you fight with yourself?
I do. Yeah, I'm a self-hating Jew Iranian.
I'm English. I'm going to be recording this. Oh, we are recording this. All right.
I didn't even know.
Even the financial discussion. I forgot we were recording. I'm English and Irish, so I'm at war with myself.
Nice.
Yep. Is it 4 minutes yet? Who cares? We'll just be yammering away in our
always
sideshow. Man.
Oh, got some more good news. They're looking to legalize weed here in Michigan.
Cool.
Awesome. Hopefully they actually do it. I just hope eventually they get past this idea that the way to do it is to tax it and regulate it like alcohol.
Don't do that. All right, we are back here on Freedom Feens Live. Happy Jewish Mother Day there, Neema. Is it Jewish Mother's Day?
My mom keeps telling me it's Jewish Mother's Day. I think she's just trying to guilt me into calling her.
My mother used to my mother was so into guilting people, she used to say she was the only Protestant Jewish mother in the world.
Nice. I do love you, Ma. I think my mom's listening right now, and I love you more than any other mom I've ever had, Mom.
I'm not going to be creepy and say I love Neema's mom too. I like her a lot.
Good.
She's cool.
I appreciate that. No, apparently, she was telling me she was looking at some of our genealogy and saying that the Italian side of her family apparently were the Jews from Sicily. At least the last name, DePaula.
You seem pretty unconflicted for a Jewish Persian there. Persian
I mean,
Jew.
it's all people. I am who I am. I mean, I don't.
I'm English and Irish, so I'm constantly at war with myself. But I'm also French Canadian, which is probably why the idea of separatism intrigues me in some intellectual way.
I'm as Scott Horton says. I'm down for secession down to the last man. We should all be our own sovereigns.
I won't say that because that's tyranny. That's terrorist talk. I will say I really like that quote of I'd like to organically reduce the size of government until I could drown it in my bathtub. I love that one, man. That's good.
Me too.
Yeah, my daughter was Jewish, by the way. I would just want to put that in there before the people who say that we're anti-Semitic because we're talking about why is Israel exist. And I just want to say Neema and I are both Jewish or something. Or have some
I would
connection.
say if you want to call us anti-Semitic, I would call you anti-thought.
Yeah.
Think about some stuff.
Speaking of thought, we have one of our favorite thinkers on here from Michigan. Hey, Lou, go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, fellas?
How's
all the peeps out there?
Cool, man. How's the Department of Weed and Hogs doing there in Michigan?
Well, our Michigan Do Nothing Right, Department of Natural Resources. I guess they took down a couple of family farms in the past week or so, and there was supposed to be a court hearing up in Sheboygan County, which is way up. Yeah, it's way up at the top of the mitten. But anyway, two family farms got taken down, and if you saw the article on National News, you'll see that one of the farmers wound up putting down all of his pigs before the DNR could get there. So
that's horrible. And now when you say they took down two family farms, what do you mean? They basically went in, fed goons and all, and shut them down, or what'd they do?
No, this was state goons.
State goons.
But
did the pigs shoot the pigs?
Yeah, there were supposed to be two raids.
With AR-15s?
One guy shot his own. I don't know. I don't know what they're carrying. I think most of the communist bloc states usually like to use the AK-47s.
You know, a lot of people
the
that I knew
communist bloc states. Nice.
I knew people in California that like to hunt wild pigs, and they used M1 carbines that shoot a little 30 cal round that looks like a 357 Magnum also. So those are good for shooting pigs, which I'm trying to make a joke here too with thinking about Patty Hearst, but no, I'm just going to not say it because she did use that same gun.
Well, I want to get back to this, though. I mean, are these family farms fighting back? Is there any liberty-minded people that are saying, hey, what gives here? You can't just go around shutting down people's farms, or what's going on?
Well, what we have is we have one guy, his name is Mark Baker. He has Baker's Green Acres Farm, which is up in the northern part. And he's been on, he did an interview with the health ranger, Mike Adams, on the Alex Jones show. He's done some YouTube videos. I have them posted. I'll send them over to you guys so you can check them out. One is his testimony before the state Politburo, and then there's a couple of simple little short documentaries where he talks about his farm. He's actually big enough, and he's made a big enough of a stink to where they can't go after him so easily. But the smaller farms, they haven't banded together and asserted their rights and protected themselves. Basically, the state goons are going after the low-hanging fruit.
What do you think the motivation is here? Why do you think the state goons are doing this?
Well, it's typical of everything else. Is why do we have these crappy, twisty light bulbs that moths don't even go near? They've been bought, they've been regulated out by the big business, the big pork. But there's one of the guys from Campaign for Liberty sent a letter to one of the state senators or representatives, I don't know, but they said that these invasive species are a threat to the ecosystem and the domestic pork system. So in other words, it's protectionism, because what they're saying is if you have these characteristics, physical characteristics, red hair, brown hair, twisty tail, straight tails, and a couple other things, then it's considered an invasive species. But if you go by the number, or if you go by the actual definition of feral, it means it's out in the wild. So it would be an actual wild boar out in the wild. And it can't be a wild boar if it's in the fence and domesticated and everything else.
So it's basically big corporations using the government to try to prevent competition.
Yeah, basically. There's two ways to make money. You can compete in the market honestly and have a superior product, or you can use your political connections to cripple your competition.
Wow.
Yeah, that's horrible, man. And I really appreciate you letting us know that this is going on. And so you live out in Michigan, right?
I'm in the Detroit area, so
I guess I wanted to ask, what's the consensus among people there? I mean, because, a lot of times when this kind of stuff happens, the people will rally behind the state or behind the government and say, yeah, well, they should just get rid of all those farmers. What are average people there saying about this kind of stuff?
Do you go immigrant hunting with Ted Nugent?
No, he's too statist for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Oh, and my one little joke about the stripper scandal down in Cartagena. When Obama had his press conference, once again he had something to blame on Bush.
Bush made why? Because they were Bush's Secret Service guys.
No, because vagina's
they were out
Bush.
looking for Bush.
Yeah.
Did he really?
But anyway,
he really tried to blame it on Bush, or is that a joke?
No, it's a joke.
A joke.
It's a joke.
Okay. I'm too wholesome to get jokes like that. I live in Wyoming.
Right,
I'm sitting here with my Bible and my beer and my pickup truck, and nothing's funny.
Right.
Yeah, catch it on the playback when you're thinking about BDSM. But
hey, there's all sorts of stuff I could quote from the Bible that says a man has the right to subjugate a woman. So don't get me started on whether that's Christian or not.
Wow, this is getting out of hand.
So pigs.
I'm not arguing about the BDSM, but as far as the consensus, you have a lot of the sheeple that have gone to the government indoctrination camps, and you can see the documentary on 500 years of government education. I believe the movie's called Idiocracy.
I love that. The first 5 minutes of that movie are the best thing that's ever been put on film, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. But yeah, and you have the people that just say, oh, well, it must be a problem because they're talking about it. And realistically, the number of pigs shot out in the wild, and I spent a lot of time out in the woods. I've never seen one of these wild pigs. But I guess there were about 50 of them that got shot last year.
Well, they probably did a study to find how many there were and said that's how many there were.
Yeah. A government-funded study, of course.
They probably sent a bunch of people out there and paid them to go find them to say there were lots of them. We're out.
Yeah.
Since its formation in
security and not let a user through if they don't meet the security criteria for your website.
There you go. Although, in order to determine that, you would have to open your computer up to a vulnerability because the website would have to have a JavaScript running to see if your computer is running antivirus software.
It's a problem that could be fixed by some smarter entrepreneurs than I. I mean, yeah, that's a hurdle, obviously, but that's not to say that it's an impossible hurdle to get over.
Would you tar and
more
a tax collector? That's what we're listening to.
I would, and I will if he comes to my door. No, I'm
no,
kidding.
You won't. He's kidding. He's kidding.
I guess.
Yeah. You guess.
Yo! Feens Live. So what it is, speaking about freedom on a Sunday, for you who don't know, you better ask somebody. Who better you ask? The Freedom Fiends.
I really like that ad about replacing Social Security with vouchers for old people to get corn, liquor, and extreme sports.
Everclear and smoke sticks of dynamite as well. Which, of course, is offset by the pussy tax for
dynamite.
Those who are
it's
too
not
scared.
Just for hippies huffing paint anymore.
No, we're equal opportunity dynamite suppliers.
I've never even seen dynamite, but my dad, in the 40s, when he was a young farmer, used to go buy dynamite at the general store for blasting stumps out of his farmland.
Oh, that's so awesome. I wish I could buy dynamite at the frickin' gas station today.
Well, I'm sure.
I don't know what I'd do with it.
You said that on the internet, so I'm sure the ATF will show up at your door and see if you have any. and you'll be like, no, I don't. Give me some alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives.
Exactly. I thought you guys were the delivery service.
You guys work for
tobacco,
us.
and firearms.
I know. Doesn't that sound like a delivery, a convenience store with door-to-door delivery? The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives.
Sure as hell should be. I've also heard it called All Things Fun, ATF.
Well, I mean, they're giving them to Mexican drug lords. Why don't they give them to some real Americans? We're paying their salary.
There you go.
Although I think in some way
dynamite.
They took our dynamite. Although I think in some way the Mexican drug lords are paying the ATF salary. I don't know how directly it is, but in some way.
And sort of a CIA, Iran-Contra kind of thing, where the Fed goons in some way are getting some money on the side from the criminals.
I don't even know if it's that. It's probably just something more about like the fact that one exists enables the other to exist and vice versa.
That's very true. I mean, we've said it before. Your favorite thing to say is, the cartel leader would be running some banana picking operation somewhere if the drug war didn't exist.
Yeah. Someone from the DEA would get mad at you if you said, yeah, the drug lords wouldn't exist without you and vice versa. But if you said it for someone from the ATF, they'd probably agree. Like, hey, we're here because they're here. Although,
see, here's why they don't want the drug war to end, because the guy who runs the cartel would be off picking bananas, but the guy who runs the ATF works in the ATF, well, he'd be working at Best Buy or something.
There you go.
He'd be delivering pizzas or being a security guard in a mall. So he wants to keep his fat paycheck.
I'm the one that came up with they'd be off picking bananas, but that's racist. Why would the guy in Mexico be working at the Walmart? Why would he be picking bananas? He could be working at the Walmart or the Best Buy. Walmart.
You said it. You're the racist one.
Walmart just got in a bunch of trouble because it turned out that they were bribing Mexican officials so they could build more Walmarts there. And I told DJ that, and she's like, "Isn't that how you do business in Mexico?" It's how you do business here, but it's more direct.
The bribes are more subtle here. Is the catch? It comes in the form of campaign contributions.
Yeah, here you have to hire a lobbyist. There they cut out the middleman. You just pay the sheriff, and he lets you do what you want there.
Yeah, so there you go. It's probably cheaper to do business because of that. There,
I think there they threaten to kill him or give him money. That's the choice. They call it lead or silver, whatever that is in Spanish.
Yeah, I don't know how to say that in Spanish, but I'm sure it sounds better than lead and silver. Probably rhymes or something.
So you had something about the internet and freedom. What was it?
Oh, yeah. Just to show we're equal opportunities, haters of tyranny, and promoters of freedom. Iran. Okay, so we were talking about the government, the FBI, with their horrible internet stuff over there. In Iran, the interior minister, I don't know how you say it in Farsi, but he wants to disconnect the internet in Iran from the World Wide Web, have it only be internal, and he calls it the halal internet,
the
which
Persian net.
is the Muslim word for kosher, basically.
That's funny.
You eat halal stuff.
The halal
and this is supposed to be their big push for the Persian New Year, which started about a month ago now, March 20-something. And so basically they want to cut everything off and only have a controlled internal internet. It reminded me of a Tim and Eric skit. Tim and Eric's Awesome Show. They had this thing called the Internet, which was a CD you could put in your computer instead of the internet if you're scared of viruses.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, you can even instant message with our computerized internet instant messenger, Bob, who said like the same thing over and over again.
There's you can actually download all of Wikipedia, just the text part, not any of the media, pictures or video or anything. You can actually download the whole thing. It's a few dozen gigs or something, but it's you could, if you just started downloading on a DSL connection for like 2 or 3 days, you could download all of Wikipedia. There's a button somewhere on there to do it.
So see, they're kind of thinking the same thing we are, and then you can just send Wikipedia entries over each other through carrier pigeons.
Can you imagine what the internet would look like if the United States government ran it?
I don't think it would exist in the sense we see it now.
It'd be pretty horrible if the United States government had to approve everything on it, but it'd be even worse if they made it. Can you imagine if they made it? If they made all the content on it?
I don't want to imagine that. I mean, it would be like the DMV. You would not want to go to the internet.
It would just be stuff to deal with the government. It would just be like articles about how great Obama is. It would be the DMV, make an appointment to go stand in line at the DMV. And it would be a bunch of articles about why marijuana should be a felony and why we need to vote to make it one. And then there'd be like, spell check that didn't work and, some like video game that sucked.
Yeah. And of course, advertisements to inform on your neighbors and turn them into the police.
And there'd be email, but it would cost like more than sending a letter. It'd be like 5 cents more than sending a letter.
Right. You'd have to buy stamps every time you wanted to send an email. Of course, if it was spam, it would be free, just like junk mail at the post office.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think there should be a separation. You know how people say separation of church and state? There should be a separation of state and everything else to where it's small enough to where we can drown it in a bathtub.
The state is trying to get really deep into the internet, man. Every week they come up with something new. It's for safety.
Yeah. Safety. Of course, it's for their own safety. It's for the safety of the establishment.
That Arizona annoying bill, man. I think we should just have a segment on every podcast where we pick someone in Arizona and annoy them on the internet.
I think that's a great idea.
Until I'm banned from visiting my relatives there.
Yeah, see, the horrible thing is we're taking a road trip to Arizona this summer, so we could start that segment after I'm out of Arizona.
Okay. You could meet some people there, and you could take some names while you're there.
Okay.
Yeah, like if some cop pulls you over, get his name, and we'll annoy him later on the internet.
Oh, see, that's another bummer for this big road trip. I have to actually pay some kind of government to get my car up to date. I haven't paid for car registration since 2008, so it's been about 4 years now. Wow. I've still got my old Texas plates and everything on the car because nobody in Wyoming ever gave me crap about it. I think I had one cop who stopped.
You gotta achieve a better lifestyle. Let me ask you this: like, I pay all that crap when it's due or before it's due. I'm really proactive about that stuff, but it's because I have the money to do it. I don't like doing it, but it's easier for me to do that than have to worry about, basically their voodoo is working on me. If you had like a lot more money than you have to where it wasn't a choice between pay your tickets and your registration or eat, would you pay that stuff proactively or would you still be like,
I mean, I haven't been that broke for a while, so it's not just the money. Honestly, it's more the time than the money. I guess it is the money in the sense that I'd rather buy a can of Spammo than get my car registered. I'd rather go out shooting.
Spammo? Tell what Spammo is.
A big Spam can full of 7.56 by 54R, Mosin bullets,
762 by 54, man.
Oh, 762. Okay. Whatever. Some stupid metric number.
You just lost your golden antelope. So if you get a golden porcupine for convincing people to move to New Hampshire, if I inadvertently get someone to move to Wyoming by talking about how much I like it here and how few people they are and they all leave me alone and one more moves here, do I get like the like tin porcupine or the anti-porcupine or something?
I'd say golden buffalo.
The golden buffalo.
Golden buffalo.
Yeah, there you go.
Or ruby Indian would work too.
Ruby Indian.
That's racist.
That's racist. Yeah, the land that I believe I own, where my house is sitting on land that was Indian land like 160 years ago, man. How'd that happen? Dick Cheney's grandfather shot somebody probably with a shotgun by accident.
Again, I think we can always blame Dick Cheney for just about everything.
Dick Cheney grew up in a little yellow house that's 8 blocks from where I'm sitting. Aww.
See, we both live in places with horribly statist pasts. Like, your football field is named after Dick Cheney, but the football field where I live is called the team's called the Bombers, and they have a big mushroom cloud next to it, because here's where we develop plutonium to incinerate 100,000 innocent Japanese people. So mine's probably worse than yours, although I don't know. Dick Cheney's trying to catch up. He was trying to catch up. I don't think he'll ever achieve that level of horribleness. But
I'm gonna go watch the Mark Wahlberg movie Shooter, and imagine that I'm the Mark Wahlberg character and you're the younger brown guy.
And of course, the villain in that is supposed to be the Dick Cheney. He's like a Dick. Yeah,
he's some senator from Montana, but he's Dick Cheney, man. He's a senator from Wyoming. All right,
man. Peace.
Word.